Good afternoon, this is the instructional video for this 2014 Burstner T740 55 edition. This instructional video will give you a good overview how all the services in the vehicle work, but you will be able to find a more detailed and comprehensive outline of all the services in the manual. We'll start by doing the outside of the vehicle, then we'll move to the inside. So first of all, to open the bonnet, on the passenger door there is a little handle that we pull down, and that releases the bonnet catch. All we then do is lift the bonnet, and there is not much that you're going to need to know under here, but if you ever need to jump start it, the positive terminal is underneath this little lid. So that's the positive, which is the red cable, and the negative is on this little nipple here, so that's the black cable. We have oil, the dipstick's just in front, and washer fluid is up in this top left hand corner. As we move around the vehicle, we have a Thule Omnister awning. This operates by having an awning pole which is in the garage. This is a T-fitting which goes up into this hole, quarter turn, and then drops down to lock in. Basically how the awning works is we wind it out just as far as we need to reach it, somewhere around about here. There are two legs in the front of the awning box. We then drop those down, extend them to take the weight of the awning, and then we can walk the awning out. Awning and wind do not mix, so I'd ask that you do not use it in any windy conditions. If it is raining, we would ask that you probably drop one leg a bit lower so rain runs off, but if there is any pooling on the awning, we'd ask that you put the awning away. And then to release the handle, we just push up, again quarter turn, which will allow it to drop out, and this can stay in the garage. There is an awning light which is controlled by a button inside. These are your fridge vents. In normal usage you won't have to do anything with them. We would ask that you be careful when you're jet washing that you don't jet wash straight into the vents themselves. And if you are going to be using the vehicle in wintry conditions, you might want to purchase some winter covers. Winter covers will stop driving rain going into the vehicle, and it will also help the fridge work better in cold temperatures. In this locker here we have our toilet cassette. Simply we lift up and then slide it out. We can then empty it by taking this cap off, and you empty it a sluice on site. Make sure we press the green button when we're emptying, which will release the vacuum. If we're using blue fluid, which you have to use some toilet chemical in the cassette, toilet fluid goes straight in through this spout. If you're using sachets, so the dry type of blue fluid, or the blue powder, that goes straight down the toilet. When it's going back in, we just need to make sure it is straight and that it clicks in, which you'll see here. Again, moving back around the vehicle, we then come to the garage. In the garage you'll note this particular vehicle has an alarm fitted, so these are the sensors. We have the extra pad to make up the front bed. This also has a spare wheel, our tyre inflation kit, our tool kit which has our jack and brace. There's also a light and a heating vent in here as well. So I'm just going to climb into the garage because we have a little locker here which houses our boiler. In the boiler, there's nothing that you're going to need to do with the boiler itself. If you do ever need to do a reset, it's under this flap, but we'll can always explain that to you if we need to. But importantly, there is this black box, which is a black box, and I don't know if you can just see, but on the front face there you can just see at the bottom, the front face of it has a button. If I just flick it open, as they say, you can see the button's now out. And this is your boiler frost protection valve. Basically what this valve does is, if the it's obviously temperature controlled, if the temperature drops below 6 degrees, it will automatically flick open and it will automatically drain water in the boiler. That's to protect itself so water does not freeze in the boiler, expand and then break the boiler. If it's cold temperatures, you'll more than likely obviously be leaving your heating on in the vehicle, but say you accidentally turned it off, the temperature dropped and the water then was automatically drained from the boiler, you will need to reset this switch or close the valve that's then opened. To do that, all we do is turn the diamond 90 degrees and push the button in. If the button doesn't go in, it is still too cold in that area. You can see obviously near the boiler and the heating pipes. So if it's still too cold in that area, you need to get the heating on, which I'll show you inside. Warm up this area and that will then allow you to reset this frost protection valve. You'll also see there's another toggle valve, and that is mainly just another valve for when we are draining the water system. This vehicle has obviously quite a few water pipes, so it means that if you open that valve, turn the pump on, you will then be able to drain the water out of all the pipes, and then you can obviously manually open the frost protection valve, which will drain the boiler as well. I'll show you inside how we drain the freshwater tank, which will then give you a routine for when you close down for winter. So in winter, basically we need to make sure that the freshwater tank is drained down, which I'll show you inside. We need to make sure that the boiler is drained, either by that automatically opening or you manually flicking it open. And then you also need to make sure the yellow toggle valve is open. We run the pump or run the taps when the pump is on, and that will get the water then out of the whole system. Please make sure though that when you are then wanting to use the vehicle, you'll need to make sure that the yellow toggle valve is closed. You'll need to make sure that the boiler frost protection valve is closed, and obviously that the freshwater tank is also closed. Otherwise, water will just drain out of the system. Again, clarification of this or full details can be found in the manuals, or if you want to ask us some questions, speak to any one of the technical or sales team at Emm-Bee. At the back of the vehicle we have our bike rack. This is a Fiamma bike rack, pretty self-explanatory. We just undo these latches on either side. This has a strap around it as well. We just drop it down. The bike tyres sit in these rails, and then these grab onto the top tubes. At the back, this vehicle is fitted with a reverse camera. The reverse camera can be adjusted using the Allen keys on the side if you do want a different angle. This here you can see shows this power symbol, and that is our electric hookup. That is where your mains cable goes in to get 240 volts into the vehicle. We have another access into the garage, and then this here is our flue or our chimney for our boiler. Please just be careful, this will get hot, and make sure that it is not full of leaves or debris. Underneath the van at this point you can see we have a pipe, and that is our grey waste operated by the handle here. Basically we just turn it, and that is our soap it or foodie water. We will just usually drive over a grid on site and we can drain down. Alternatively, you can get an extension that can go onto a drain on site, on your pitch, which is often what we call a service pitch or a super pitch. Moving around the vehicle, we then come to our gas locker. There is provision for 2 bottles in here, and then that goes onto the regulator. You will need to get a gas connector pipe, or often known as a pigtail. So we have the regulator in a pigtail, and that goes into the bottle. And as you can see here, the big rule about gas and motorhomes is please turn your gas off at the bottle when you drive. Also, do not cover these holes, because if there is a leak, the gas will then drop out of the van. To fill up your fresh water, this is your filler point. And then finally, here is your diesel. Please do not get these confused. This one is water, fresh water, and this one is diesel. So that's it for the outside of the vehicle. Now, I'm just going to pause it for a second, then we'll move to the inside. So we're now going to explain or give you an overview of the inside of the vehicle. We'll start from the back and move ourselves forward. On all of the windows and the roof lights, there are fly screens and blackout blinds. Please be careful with these. They're designed to be as light but as strong as possible. The side windows, again, because this vehicle is alarmed, has alarm sensors, and basically to open the windows we just move these latches. There are again blinds and fly screens and blackout blinds on all the windows. We have wardrobes either side of the bed, and underneath this rail we have lights which can be twisted and slid across or moved should you need. This bed does extend by pulling this handle. We can then use the info piece to make the rear bed bigger. We can also lift the bed, which allows access to some more storage under the bed, and you'll see here that we have a piece of carpet in there as well. On to the passenger side of the rear of the vehicle, we come to our controls for our heating and hot water. Basically, we have on the left hand side is our choices of whether we have heating or hot water. So we can either have up to 40 degrees just hot water, up again to 60 degrees just hot water, and then if we go down one, that is a flame, so that is just heating, so no hot water. And then at the bottom one is 6-degree water and heating, so that's heating and hot water together. It's on a combi system. And then here we have the fuel that we're going to use. So we can either have just gas, 1 kilowatt electric, 2 kilowatt electric, 1 kilowatt electric and gas together, or 2 kilowatt electric and gas together. So the left one is what we're going to use, whether it's heating and hot water or both, and then the right hand button is the fuel that we're going to use to get that heating or hot water. Before we put any hot water on, we need to make sure that we prime the system. So to prime the system, what we do is turn our power on and our pump on the control panel, which I'll show you shortly. We then turn the taps in the kitchen and the bathroom to hot and turn them on. Obviously you'll need to make sure you've got water in to do this. Turn the taps on, like I say, on to hot and turn them on. The water will then splutter. Once it runs smooth, we know that we've pressured our system, and only then can we turn our hot water on, because we want to make sure that we've got water in the boiler before we turn it on. And again, if you don't have any water in that boiler, say the frost protection valve has dropped, or you just don't have any in, you can use it just on the heating setting only. This here is a shower, pretty self-explanatory. The toilet door does slide across and locks across to give you some privacy. And then we have the toilet itself. So the toilet does move to get you more comfortable. And basically what we have is, there is a blade here with a handle. And all we do is, as you can see, pull out, which opens the blade into the toilet. The procedure for using the toilet is open the blade, do your business, flush the toilet using this button, and then close the blade afterwards. You will also see it will tell you when to fill the when the toilet cassette is full. We also have a separate light switch under here, and then your toiletry cupboards. And there's also a power point. As we move then forward into the vehicle, we come to the kitchen. There's a 3-ring gas hob, which is pretty self-explanatory. Sink's pretty simple, and obviously your kitchen drawers, again pretty self-explanatory. In here we have a bin and also your gas isolator valves. In normal usage you don't need to touch these. We have one for the hob, one for the boiler and one for the fridge. You would only then use them if you did have a leak and you needed to isolate a single appliance. Up here we have some storage. This did have a microwave in at one point, so there is a power point should you want to put another microwave in again, but you'll have to ensure that that is very secure so it doesn't come out whilst driving. Here we have our TV bracket. There's not a TV fitted to this particular vehicle. We have some more of the sliding lights around the vehicle which can be moved, and we also have another 240 and the USB there on the bulkhead as well. We have some more storage, and then if we turn to the other side of the motorhome, we come to our fridge and our oven and grill. Pretty simple. We have the controls for the oven and then controls for the grill that will just work on gas only. And when you're using on the grill, as it says, we need to make sure it's open at 45 degrees. Please be careful you don't bang your head on this corner. When it's travelling, it needs to be in the fully closed and locked position. The fridge has a separate fridge and freezer, and it is a really good size on this model. This is what we call a three-way automatic. By three-way, I mean it'll work off mains, which is 240. It'll work off gas, and it'll also work off 12 volt. Remember though, it will only work off 12 volt, and your 12 volt is your leisure battery when the vehicle is running. The simplest way to do it though is press A for automatic, and it will source the best fuel. So it will always try and look for mains. If you can't find mains, which you can't at the moment because I'm not hooked up, it will go on to gas. And then because I've got no gas in, it will eventually come up as an error. But if I did turn the keys in ignition and turn the engine on, it would automatically go to 12 volt. We have this little button which is to defrost the freezer, and then this is to adjust the temperature. To turn it off, we just hold. At the bottom of the fridge there is another drawer for storage. Moving to the front of the vehicle, we then come to the control panel. Pretty simple. We have power on and off, which is our 12 volt. So off and on. This button tells me my engine battery voltage. This button tells me my leisure battery voltage. And then this button tells me my freshwater, the top one, and the bottom one is my wastewater, and this button is to turn the pump on. This here is a little temperature controller, or the thermostat, for the controls in the back of the vehicle, so you can get the temperature exactly how you like it. Underneath this seat here and underneath this panel is your leisure battery and also your solar panel controller, which you'll not need to do anything with. Underneath this seat panel, we'll just take it out for the moment, is your freshwater tank. And you will see we have access to clean the tank and also a little wheel to drain down. So that's how we drain down our fresh water. Basically, we just do a 180 turn till we hear a clunk, and that will drain it down to 20 litres. But if you want to drain the whole tank, I go as far as I can till I feel some resistance. And then to close it, I just go as far as I need till it stops. Yeah. So, just as a bit of a recap, I'll just put this cushion back as well. Just as a recap for the water system, we fill up by the black fill up point outside. Please don't get that confused with the diesel fill up. And then if we want to drain down, we drain down our freshwater tank by again going underneath the seat. We also then need to make sure that our boiler is drained down by either flicking the boiler drain valve, or it will do it automatically if it's too cold. Then we also need to, the little yellow toggle valve we need to open, and then we turn the pump on, which you've seen from the control panel, and we can pump the water out of the pipes. Please be careful though, that you don't want to ever run the pump when there's no water in the system. So we just pump it out just until there is no water left. Please don't leave the pump running because it will burn out. Okay, so let's move to the cab area. First of all, spinning the seats. They spin pretty easily, but if it does hit something, we just grab the slider and slide it round. and then they will lock in. To release them, we just pull this handle. We have Remis cab blinds on the windows, which is dead easy. We just pinch them and pull them across, and they will then magnet on. And then the concertina in the middle, and then magnet together. The van stuff's all pretty simple. We have controls for the lights and indicators, windscreen wipers on this side, and then cruise control and speed limiter here. We have controls for your rear view, wing mirrors, and then the electric windows. The Pioneer multimedia system, all the details can be found in the books, and that's pretty self-explanatory. And the air conditioning is also pretty simple. This control here is for the electric and heated wing mirrors, and then we also have the central locking to unlock and lock whilst you're from your seat. So that's it for the overview of the Burstner T740 Island Bed 55 edition 2014. Again, this video is to be given as a overview for your instruction, but if you do need any clarification, don't hesitate to contact one of the team here at Emm-Bee. Thank you.